My name is Drewry Fennell, and I'm the Executive Director of the ACLU in Delaware. One of the great things about being in a state the size of Delaware is that someone will actually ask you to be on the board of a place like the ACLU when you're a brand spanking new lawyer. So they asked me to join the board, and I jumped at the opportunity to do that. I was so interested in the work they did. My partner continues to say that this is the work our family does. It's not just my work, it's our family's work. And it's the way that we try to give back to our community and do something better for the people in our community. I'm very fortunate because I am a professional, and I've got a great education and great opportunities to make money and do what I need to do, and so is my partner. So the decision to make less money wasn't so hard. It wasn't so hard. It's not really about that. You know, we have enough. You know, we have enough. And the idea of being able to spend your days doing something that you really believe with, it's just an opportunity that very few people get to take advantage of. And I'm so aware every day of how fortunate I am that I do have that kind of support from my family, from my children, from my community to do the work I love to do, and that I think is really important. I mean, I do think what we do is so important. One of the cases that's been closest to my heart, actually, Karen and I worked on quite a bit, and that was the family in Lower Delaware. A young woman who was graduating at the top of her class, or very near the top of her class, sitting on a stage at graduation, and the graduation speaker launched into a prayer in which she exhorted the people that were gathered there to give, you know, to be saved by Jesus. And that's just plain flat black letter against the law. You just can't do that. You cannot have graduation prayer of that kind. And they started out writing this very polite letter and really sort of approaching it as if this was just a problem that someone should solve. And the hatred that came back against that family and that child was mortifying and frightening. They ended up having to leave that community, relocate. And I spent a lot of time with that family. I got to know them really well. And I think one of the nicest things that's happened to me is I got an email about 3 months ago from the mother saying, if we hadn't gone through that, our lives would be so much different. And I'm bracing myself for it to say it was the worst thing we ever did. And it didn't. The letter went on to say it was the best thing we ever did. We live in a different community now. We're much more accepted. We have more friends. Our jobs are different. Our world is broader. We have friends in places we would never have met people. Like this office, you know, where their world got broader and better, and we got some good for them. Personally and legally. So the first project I worked on was actually a gay rights project back in 2001, and the first thing I had to do was change my phone number because we were getting calls at home. You know, my phone was listed. My phone number is no longer listed because my children, who were, you know, small, 12, you know, 10, 11, 12, were picking up the telephone, and people were saying some pretty horrible things to them on the telephone. And that's been a difference. I think mostly, though, the difference for my family has been incredibly positive and empowering. I mean, my children think that you're supposed to go talk to your senator or your congressman or your governor, and they believe that those people should and will listen to them. They've all of my older children. My youngest child's only in 3rd grade; he hasn't had a chance yet. But all of my older children who are now college age, every one of them has taken an opportunity at some point in their high school and college career to organize or to bring together a group of people and initiate some kind of action where they are, that's either for the purpose of teaching or communicating with decision makers. And that's been really gratifying to see that they are they feel not only engaged enough with those issues, but sort of that this is something you can do. And it's okay to do it, and it's not hard, and it can be a little scary, but mostly, you know, people are glad for the opportunity to speak out and make their views known. It's about truth telling. You know, I'm proud to be in a place where it is my job to speak the truth. you know, where it is my job to say what is, and to name things that are, and to say it is wrong to discriminate against high school students because of their religion. It is right to recognize people's relationships no matter what their gender. That it is wrong to deny people the right to vote. That it is right to make sure that everyone who meets the police is treated equally and fairly. That's a really powerful place to live your life from, and it's really it's fun, and it makes me glad that I can get up and go to work every day, and that I can have those conversations, and that my organization and my community supports telling the truth and saying what is. One of the things our work here does is it brings a lot of people from a lot of corners of the community together to talk to each other and to know each other. That's a huge thing. That's a huge thing. People are going to feel very differently about prisoners' rights if they sat in a meeting and the person sitting next to them had been an inmate. That's a very different conversation for both of those people to have had than what they might have had before. As you know, Milk, the movie Milk just came out, and you know, come out, whoever you are. And it's not just about being a gay person. It's about being whatever it is that you are and believe. Knowing other people in the community sort of diffuses all of that. You know, the more people we know who are different from us, the easier it is to understand that underneath it all, we're just the same, with the same worries and concerns and fears and, you know, pride and you know, badness. You know, we're not all perfect, but we're not all bad, and we're not all good. We're just human, and I think the more we get to know each other, the better that will be. I guess if I have a legacy, it will be that people can engage in a civil, productive way around issues that inflame them. I'm pretty lucky, you know. I'm a privileged person in our culture, and although I'm a gay woman, I don't feel much persecution on a day-to-day basis, but I know it's there. I know it's there. And I have on occasion, like I said, I had to change my phone number. And part of that was because the people who called weren't just talking about the fact that I was the, you know, head of the ACLU, but because I had come out. And, you know, there were some pretty ugly things said about my children. There's, you know, not even very long ago, there was some comments in the newspaper, you know, they did a little comment blog at the bottom that were pretty unkind about the fact that I'm a gay person and a parent. And nobody likes having their children paraded out in that way. That's a pretty ugly shot. So those kinds of things always unnerve me. I'm much more concerned and worried about what effect my sexual orientation has on my kids than I am about it. I know how to defend myself against that, and I sort of know what I need to do, and I have a great community of people to support me. But I do worry about you know, who's not going to want to associate with my child, or who's going to say or do something really harmful or hurtful to one of my children. That's a worry to me. And it's happened. You know, it's happened. I know there are kids who won't come to our house, or kids who don't invite my children over, or things that are said in my children's hearing that are very disturbing and distressing to them. We did one of those things at my church once where you have to be, you know, say what body part you are. Like, you know, are you the hands? Are you the feet? Are you the... And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know. I decided I'm a synapse, which is a crazy thing. But, you know, that's what I mean, building community is one way of thinking about it. But being a place where you can connect people who need to talk to each other, who need to know each other, who need to understand each other's point of view and problems and barriers and difficulties, so that you can try to get a solution to a problem. That's about the most cool thing ever. So, you know, if I can be a synapse, that's what I would like to do.